What if they don't listen to me? What if I step in and the teacher disagrees with how I handle it? What if I say the wrong thing and make things worse? If you've ever had these thoughts as a teaching assistant, you're not alone. Behaviour management can feel like a minefield, balancing authority, fairness, and keeping learning on track without overstepping your role. But here's the good news: you don't need to be the teacher to have a huge impact on classroom behaviour. Hello, fabulous TAs. I'm Lauren Reasoner, and I was a TA one-to-one and HLTA for 20 years. I even did 6 weeks of training, teacher training, but I absolutely hated it. And now I create videos that answer all your TA questions. So if you want to learn more about being a TA, growing confidence, cope with interviews, and all manner of other TA related stuff, start right now by subscribing to my channel. Before we get into specific strategies, let's be clear. TAs are not there to police the classroom. You are there to support learning by helping to maintain a positive and focused environment. Your role in behaviour management includes reinforcing expectations set by the teacher, encouraging positive behaviour through praise and recognition, helping individual students regulate their emotions and focus, de-escalating situations when students become disruptive, supporting students with additional needs who may struggle with their behaviour. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly what your role is in behaviour management through 5 real-life scenarios you'll likely encounter as a TA and how to handle them effectively. So let's look at 5 situations you'll definitely come across in your TA role and the best ways to respond. So scenario 1, the attention seeker distracting others. A student constantly calls out, makes silly noises, or tries to entertain their classmates instead of working. What doesn't work? Shushing them repeatedly, giving them too much attention by constantly reminding them. What to do instead? Catch them behaving appropriately. When they are engaged, praise them quietly. I love how you're focusing right now. The proximity effect. Stand closer to them while you're still continuing to support elsewhere. Often your presence alone is enough to settle them. Non-verbal cues. A simple look, raised eyebrow, or gentle tap on their desk can redirect them without calling them out. Scenario 2, the student who refuses to work. You ask a child to start their work, but they ignore you or flat out say, "I'm not doing it." What doesn't work? Saying, "just do it," with no explanation. Getting into a power struggle. So what to do instead? Break the task down. You could say, "let's just do the first question together." Give choices. You could say, "you can write it down or tell me your answer first, your choice." Acknowledge their feelings by saying, "I get that this feels tricky. Let's find a way to make it easier." Why this works. By offering choices and reducing the pressure, you're giving them some control over their learning, which lowers resistance. And you're allowing them to regulate, how receptive are you when you're cross about something if somebody comes in with a suggestion? It's much better, you're much more receptive once you've calmed down. And that's what these approaches are all about. Scenario 3, a student becomes angry or upset. A child gets frustrated, raises their voice, or even gets out of their seat. What doesn't work? Telling them to calm down or responding with frustration. What to do instead? Stay calm and lower your voice. If you remain calm, they are more likely to mirror your behaviour. Give them time. You could say, I can see you're upset. Take a moment and we'll talk when you're ready. Use clear, short instructions. So instead of, you need to stop and sit down now, say, let's take a breath. Then we can figure this out together. Why this works. When emotions are high, logic is low. I think that's a great one. When emotions are high, logic is low. Giving them space to regulate first makes it easier to guide them back to learning. It's about getting them to a better place before you start getting them to do what you're asking. Scenario 4. Group work turns into chaos. We've all been there, haven't we? You're supporting a small group, but they start chatting about their weekend instead of working. What doesn't work? Repeatedly telling them to focus or raising your voice to get their attention. You know, you have been, haven't you? I mean, I used to have a group on a Friday afternoon. I would find myself just keep saying the same thing and wonder why I was getting the same result, which wasn't good. What to do instead? Use a signal like a raised hand, countdown, or 1, 2, 3, eyes on me to bring them back to task. Set a challenge. You could say, let's see who can get their first answer down in the next minute. Redirect the conversation. If they're off topic, acknowledge it. That sounds interesting, but let's finish this first, then we can chat. Often if you can sort of promise them, right, if we stop, wasting time now, there'll be a bit of time at the end to do the thing you really want to do. Why this works. Engaging them in a challenge or non-verbal cues keeps things fun while maintaining control. Because often, in that situation, it's not a serious breach of behaviour. It's just kids being kids. So if you keep it light, that's often what works best. Scenario 5. A child tests boundaries with you. A student talks back, mutters under their breath, or refuses to follow an instruction you've given. What doesn't work? Engaging in an argument and saying, because I said so. What to do instead? Stay neutral. You could say, I hear you. Let's talk about it after this task. Or you could use the broken record approach. I love this. If they argue, repeat the expectation calmly. You need to put your pencil down and listen. Thank you. You need to put your pencil down and listen. Thank you. Just keep saying it. Address it quietly. Calling them out in front of the class can escalate things. Instead, speak to them quietly and respectfully. Why this works. When students test boundaries, they want a reaction. Staying neutral removes the reward of winding you up. And hopefully over time, you'll find that they do it less because they're not getting that reward of winding you up. I mean, the members of staff that kids can wind up and they get a fabulous display of frustration from that person. That's exactly what they want. So by choosing to be the broken record and you keep just calmly repeating what it is you want, that gets a much better outcome than showing your frustration. It's hard, I know, because there'll be times in class when you really will feel frustrated. But there'll be some of you who remember the bad old days pre, the 1980s when teachers could throw things at you. I remember a friend of mine getting a slipper from the teacher. That whilst that may, there might be some of you that thinks, well, that jolly well worked. It doesn't help students to understand why they need to cooperate. So it's just being the disciplinarian and metering out punishment. That doesn't get students on side. It's not an acceptable short-term strategy, and it's not an acceptable one that works long-term either. So, behaviour management isn't just about stopping disruptions, it's about building trust and guiding students towards positive behaviour. The most effective TAs stay calm and consistent, use positive reinforcement, build relationships with students, work with the teacher to maintain a united approach. This isn't about not dealing with the behaviour, it's just about dealing with the behaviour in a calm and measured way. And remember, every TA has tough moments with behaviour management. The key is to stay patient, keep learning, and use small, consistent strategies to make a big impact. So I hope this video has helped you to see that behaviour management is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It is about what I've just said, those small, consistent strategies, because they are the things that make the biggest impact. Now, there is a free PDF that accompanies this video and contains everything in it. If you would like it, just put free PDF please in the comments section below. And if you'd like more great info, watch the video that's just popped up on your screen now.